Very good evening to you and welcome to Breaking Today. My name is Frederick Mwitiriri. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Tracy Dorcas. But first, the highlights. Children below 6 years and those above 65 years have finally been allowed to attend worship services. Education CS George Magoha says all universities, TTCs and TVETs reopen these coming Monday. And members of parliament take a swipe on the latest rankings by Infotrack. All right, welcome to the broadcast. You can talk to me via our SMS line. That is 111 444 111 444 111. Tell me, where are you watching us from? Now, after months of worshipping in their homes, children below 6 years and senior citizens above the age of 65 years have finally been allowed to attend worship services. Starting this Friday, only Kenyans with underlying health conditions will remain at home for their own safety as the country swings back to full mode worship, but with a minimum number of worshippers. Our reporter Kennedy Kimani with more.
The duration of religious worship services has been increased from 1 hour to 2, with the population attending service sessions to be determined by the 1.5-meter social distancing rule. This is according to the new reviewed guidelines on congregational worship released by President Uhuru Kenyatta during the National COVID-19 conference on Monday.
That in line with the recommendations of the Interfaith Council, the permitted maximum size of religious gatherings is increased to 1/3 of its normal sitting capacity.
Speaking today while issuing further guidance on religious worship, the Interfaith Council chairperson Archbishop Anthony Muheria has said that children below 6 years and the elderly above 65 years will now attend church services.
We will also allow group meetings and special services for youth and special groups, provided they follow the other criteria of social spacing and duration. The limit of the time duration of worship session will now be 2 hours.
The number of people allowed to attend weddings and funerals has ever doubled up from an earlier cap of 100.
We will now transition to phase 2 of the phased reopening as from Friday, 2nd of October 2020.
The Interfaith Council has also urged politicians to suspend political gatherings until Kenya is fully out of the coronavirus pandemic. Kennedy Kimani, Switch TV.
The lift of the ban on sale of alcohol and reopening of bars by President Uhuru Kenyatta as part of measures to ease restrictions to curb the spread of coronavirus has been well received by bar owners and alcohol distributors from different parts of the country, as David Kagina is reporting.
Against the sale of alcoholic drinks and beverages by ordinary restaurants and eateries shall stand vacated with effect from the 29th of September 2020. Unaweza kukunywa pombe, sawa.
This is the statement that sent a sigh of relief to bar owners and alcohol distributors in the country, many praising President for the eased measures.
Jana tumeshukuru sana na tumeshangilia sana na tukaanza kuendelea na kazi na saa hii mambo tunaona kumechange.
Leo ndio tumechukua stoko. Tulikuwa tunauza nyama kidogo sana lakini sasa tunajua kazi itaendelea.
In what the government termed as an aggressive surge among youth people who were socializing, particularly in environments serving alcohol, who were in turn infecting their elders, alcohol sale was banned immediately after the dusk to dawn curfew was introduced in March.
Hii vijana mnaona hapa ni watu walikuwa na shida mingi sana. Wengine walikuwa naenda kibarua nini wako na familia wamekula shida.
Tumekaa hiyo miezi 7. Nafikiria wazungu wanasema kama hata ukipoteza kazi within 6 months you are supposed to survive. Sasa tumepiga zaidi ya miezi 6. Hata kama ile akiba tulikuwa tumeka jameni imeisha.
Simon Joroge is the Murang'a Bar Owners Association chair.
Sisi wenyewe tujiangalie. Tuko na initiative ya bar 10. Kama pale kuna bar 10, kuna ule mtu tutachagua kwa kiangalia hizo bar mwenye biashara hapo. Ndivyo hizo bar kama zitafuata protocols, wacha hizo zifungwe, wala watafuata waendelee na kazi.
A good number of those working in the industry have been recalled following yesterday's move announced by the head of state, with Murang'a Bar Owners Association volunteering to inspect its members to make sure that the laid down protocols by the Ministry of Health are followed to the letter. David Kagina, Switch TV.
Talk to me on 111 444 111. All right, moving on. Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha has announced that the final year students in universities, TVETs and TTCs will reopen on October the 5th this year. However, the actual date for resumption of in-person learning in pre-primary, primary and secondary schools in the country remains in limbo after President Uhuru Kenyatta failed to give a definite timeline during the 12th address on the COVID-19 situation in the country at the KICC yesterday, urging the nation to focus on how schools will reopen and not when. Our reporter Nyakundi Kelvin visited schools in Nairobi earlier today and filed the following story.
After the president's directive emphasizing that learning institutions should only be reopened and also when the country has and can sufficiently guarantee the safety of all students, CS Magoha has given a directive on reopening of tertiary institutions from October 5th. There has been a lot of confusion among the parents, teachers and students on what to follow after the two directives.
The lives of our children and their health is not a matter for debate. Learning institutions, therefore, should only be reopened when we have and can sufficiently guarantee the safety of all our children.
Lang'ata West Primary School is deserted as expected. Teachers have already reported as directed by the Teachers Service Commission. According to the principal, Grace Adagala, they will continue following the directive of their employer to continue preparing for national examinations.
We are anticipating the opening up of our schools for learning. And when schools are being opened for learning, you don't expect teachers to stay from home. Secondly, teachers are on duty.
All the 21 teachers are in school as per now, and they are busy doing what we were directed by the Teacher Service Commission, who are our employer.
At Light Academy, silence is the only thing that lingers, but virtual learning is still on. According to the director, Ramazan Akilich, they have been having online lessons since schools were closed and since the program of virtual learning was introduced.
We already had a certain infrastructure, a digital infrastructure. So immediately we moved to online learning. And I can say we're doing this quite well. So the continuity of education is already there.
The anticipated reopening of institutions of learning will now remain on hold as the Education Ministry explores modalities of ensuring that COVID-19 prevention protocols are followed with strict conformity with the Health Ministry guidelines. Nyakundi Kelvin, Switch TV.
Thank you, Nyakundi. Members of Parliament have today taken a swipe on the latest rankings by Infotrack that ranked members in different positions and ranked Emuhaya MP Omboko Milemba as the best performer in the 12th Parliament. The MPs are now claiming the process was fraudulent and corrupt. Most of the MPs who got poor rankings accused the firm's chief executive officer, Angela Ambido, of extortion and manipulation, some claiming that the firm demanded money so that they can get better rankings. They have dismissed the research conducted as baseless and now want the Parliament to come up with rules and that govern research institutions in the country.
What was her sample size? In Suba North, if you come and you ask 9,000 people, they will probably tell you they don't like me because that's what the vote of my opponent is. But you have not asked 20-something thousand. Who are the people who elected me?
That particular research is not generalizable. It cannot be relied upon. It is not verifiable. It is just figures. It is based on other parameters than development.
I'm quoting her, Mr. Speaker. Sasa wewe kama unataka kuwa governor, toa kitu kidogo tupatie. She told me to give her 75,000. Mr. Speaker, I think this House must stand against fraudsters and conmen. Mr. Speaker, we cannot be taken for granted like that. We have a CDF board, Mr. Speaker. We have credible institutions in this country who can undertake research. And Mr. Speaker, a credible research must be ethical. This one, Mr. Speaker, of Infotruck is total insult, is undermining the integrity of members of this House.
Perhaps I would urge, I think it's the Education Committee that looks at research. Let us look at the law on all this research, because the other day we had some other chap ranking. Then we now have Infotruck. Then we have others. Let's, the committee, look at that law, and we see what safeguards are we going to put into that law.
No one will go and refer to those Synovate results. So relax. Forget about these emotions that I see around. Relax. I have relaxed all these years. Please relax.
You are in search of quick wins for money. Please look for quick wins elsewhere and not for members of parliament in the 12th parliament. You are daring the wrong number. Don't come near me.
All right, tell me where you're watching us from on 111 444 111. That is on 111 444 111. And tell me where you're watching us from. Deputy President William Ruto says that those who are criticizing his push for Hustler Nation empowerment programs are the beneficiaries of the ethnic politics in Kenya. Speaking at his current home, the DP claims that those who are always irritated by his generosity are enemies of progress and that no amount of intimidation will stop him from empowering Kenyans. Ruto says it is not the right time for BBI discussions to create power for the selected few, but time to realign the conversation towards youth and women empowerment. Ruto was in the company of his Hustler caravan.
Kuna watu wamekasirika na hii Hustler Nation kwa sababu wao wamefaidika siku nyingi na siasa ya ukabila na kugawanya watu na kuweka chuki. Mimi nataka niwaambie hasira yenu na hiyo matusi mnatuletea, mnapoteza muda wenu.
Sisi tutauliza watu heshimu na waheshimu hustle ya kila mtu. Lakini pia tuwaombe wale wanasema hustler ni majina mbaya, wanawatusi, wanawadharau, waombeeni Mwenyezi Mungu awafungue macho.
Tagi ya hustler imewasumbua sana. Imewairritate, imewaconfuse, wanajaribu kuenda kwa dictionary, wanainterpret venye wanataka, but hiyo ndiyo tag yetu na tunataka kuambia hatutatingisika kwa sababu bendera ni chuma, mlingoti chuma na kamba pia chuma.
Aisha Juma, Malindi Member of Parliament. Talk to me on 111 444 111. Tell me where you're watching us from. That is on 111 444 111. Of course, we are live on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube as Switch TV Kenya. We take a quick commercial break. Be back with more. And welcome back to Breaking Today. My name is Frederick Muitiriri. And moving on, some of the SMSs that are coming in through Facebook, through Twitter, even on YouTube. Journalist Robert Mwangi, you're saying, I'm tuned in. Ernest Mananga Jr., you're saying you're right here and watching. Thank you so very much. There is somebody who is telling me, I have not seen any post of Arsenal versus Liverpool. Please, tusisumbuane hii town. James Njoka, niache jamani. Joyce Kandungu, ndani my daughter usema wewe ni muitiriri wake. Because anaitwa Wangari. All right, thank you so very much. Now, moving on. I'll be reading some of the SMSs that are coming in, but 3 years after the government banned use of plastic bags in the country, there has been visible cleanliness in most towns that previously used to be dotted with plastic carrier bags hanging loosely on buildings and trees. But this has come at a cost, loss of jobs and livelihoods. In a special report prepared by our reporter Andre Okero, we traversed the country to find out if Kenyans have fully complied with the ban and what the government is doing to keep the ban alive.
Nature, a wondrous view and the beauty beyond expression it gives when one looks at it. But its beauty won't last for long for the next generation to see due to the daily heaps of waste brought about by poor waste management strategies. So, after years of promising to take action, the government made the manufacture, sale, and the distribution of plastic carrier bags illegal. On 28th of August 2017, Professor Jude Wahungu, the former Minister for Environment and Forestry, declared a ban on single-use plastic bags in the country and introducing high penalties for defaulters, ranked the harshest in the world.
I want to repeat and to reiterate that plastic polythene bags are pollutants, they are toxics, and they affect our health negatively. That is the whole purpose.
The plastic bag ban led to a loss of jobs, years of investment, and some manufacturers closed their businesses and others relocated to other countries.
Tuseme saa hii kama niko na mbaazi nikiweka kwenye hiyo makaratasi nyepesi inakuanga nzuri kwa sababu customer wanasiona kwa mbali.
Hiyo karatasi ungepata kwa shilingi 30, lakini yenye imekuja hivi karibuni inauzwa kwa shilingi 120.
However, it has also brought new business opportunities.
Nafikiria kwa upande mwingine sisi kwetu imeleta savings. Kwa sababu paper bags zilikuwa risk kuraruka, but for this one ya saizi you can reuse it.
But we ask them to innovate because that is not the only line of production. They can innovate, they can bring biodegradable bags, they can make reusable bags.
A research sanctioned by NEMA in 2018 on prevalence of plastic bags in the ruminants of slaughtered livestock in Nairobi's abattoirs found out that more than 50% of livestock have ingested plastic bags. These animals suffer from various conditions such as depression, being weak, and bloating affecting milk and beef production. The researchers concluded that the ban on plastic bags should be upheld to safeguard livestock industry and environment. A prior research by NEMA and United Nations Environment Program UNEP postulates that Kenyan supermarkets handed out 100 million plastic bags annually that ended up littering the environment before the ban. 3 years later, a report by the government says 80% of the population has stopped using plastic carrier bags. Over a decade of engagement with the relevant stakeholders, the Ministry of Environment and NEMA felt that it was the right time to effect the ban.
As a country, we've made very good progress in terms of implementation of the ban. If you look at our towns and cities, they are much cleaner now. And I want to thank NEMA officers. I think they've been doing a very good job countrywide to ensure that they follow up on these plastic carrier bags.
With the ban, Kenya became one of the few countries to ban plastic bags globally, acting as a benchmark to most countries in the world, especially our East African neighbors.
Very gratifying. In fact, when we look back, before we come to the issue of total ban, we had lots of challenges. We had to engage a number of stakeholders. We had to bring people on board, enlist the support of the public to ensure that this is for their good and this is for the good of the environment.
Although the ban has largely been considered a success, some types of plastic bags have not disappeared entirely.
We enhance our enforcement, including working closely with the market managers and the county governments. As you are aware, recently we gazetted close to 100 county environmental inspectors.
A majority of supermarkets and shops are no longer handing out carrier bags. Small traders have been using small bags made of clear plastic, which the United Nations says could be smuggled into the country from our neighboring countries that are yet to ban the plastic bags.
Ikiwa iko hiyo plastic kuna manufaa mingi sana. Kwa hivyo mimi sitaki, kama mimi Mkenya singependa nione tena makaratasi inarudi tena Kenya.
According to the United Nations, plastic pollution is one of the most serious threats to the planet's health. Single-use plastics are polluting the majority of ecosystems from rainforests to the world's deepest ocean trench. When consumed by fish and livestock, plastic waste ends up in our food chain. Further statistics indicate that by 15th of September 2018, 88,500 tons of waste was collected. By 21st September 2019, 100,000 tons of waste was collected. Now United Nations says that this year the number of tons of waste is expected to go high due to the rate of poor waste management strategies.
Ulikuwa unapata kuna mrundiko wa makaratasi mpaka zilikuwa juu ya miti, zingine zilikuwa zinaingia mpaka ndani ya duka zikipigwa na upepo.
How you handle waste, solid waste? You throw it out of the window. You throw it anyhow. Then it accumulates in the estate, it accumulates in the streets, and accumulates in illegal dump sites.
Back then, hii river yetu hii ilikuwa full of plastic bag. But hizi woven bag naweza sema hata zikitupwa kwa mto hazitachukua space kubwa sana kwa sababu hizi once zimekunywa maji zina shrink. Alafu ni rahisi kuzitoa.
The United Nations states that before the ban, tens of millions of plastic bags were handed out in supermarkets every year in Kenya, polluting the environment and clogging up the drainage systems, contributing to floods in major urban towns during rain seasons. By 2050, the United Nations estimates that there will be more plastics than fish in the ocean. But in Kenya, pressure is already mounting for various environmental agencies to reintroduce the banned plastics 3 years on. Will they bow to the pressure? Andrew Kero, Such TV in Nairobi.
Wonderful piece from Andre Okero, most appreciated. And so many people are appreciating you online. That is on 111, 444, 111. Rotich watching from Gilgil. That is Langalanga. Vivian Wanjiko watching from Kwale County. Thank you so very much. Faith Wamoyo, you are saying, tuko ndani kama kawaida. Paul Kadasia anatumia picha za Liverpool na Arsenal. Sawa. Son of Wamboi, Moiga Bondeni, well tuned. Thank you so very much. James Njoka, Ernest Mananga, you are watching. Gilbert McNamas, you're saying nice tie. Appreciated. Now, moving on. Today is World Heart Day, a day that is set aside to create awareness on preventive measures and changes in lifestyle to prevent cardiovascular disease. In Kenya, 13% of cardiovascular diseases is one of the leading causes of death globally, according to WHO. Therefore, how do we avoid this trajectory? Harriet Chimea has the story.
In the time of COVID-19, taking care of your heart is more important than ever before. Cardiovascular diseases claim the lives of around 17.9 million people each year, according to the World Health Organization, and it results in 31% of all global deaths. According to Dr. Ndede, these diseases, which manifest primarily as heart attacks and strokes, are triggered by lifestyle like excessive use of tobacco, unhealthy diets, lack of physical activity, and alcohol abuse.
For those who smoke, we recommend that they stop smoking at all. So those who have more weight than they need to shed some of the weight, and this impacts positively on their heart outcomes. The current recommendation is that any exercise that is equivalent to brisk walking for at least 30 minutes on most days of the week. Excessive salt consumption is generally harmful to the heart. So what we require is that at least with every meal you should have a portion of a fruit or a vegetable, and this should generally be habitual.
Nathan, now 8 years old, living with a congenital heart disease, is playful, brilliant, although he has to be cautious of his health, unlike children his age.
He has multiple defects of his heart. His heart didn't form well like yours and mine. So he has several, almost, I think, five defects of his heart. So with the kind of condition that he has, if they discovered his condition at birth, he would have had a first surgery before 1 month. Then he would have now had another second surgery before 1 year, like I think at 6 months. Then I would have had another one maybe when he was 2 years old. But then what happened is it was discovered late, so he already missed the first surgery, and already he was really struggling even to sit, to breastfeed. It was a problem to play. He's had 2 open heart surgeries. He's had about 4 catheterizations.
His mother says her ordeal has been tough, dealing with depression at one time due to financial strain, inaccessible medical care in Kenya, and having to be strong for her son through whatever means. Her only wish and desire is for a child to get a heart transplant and live a long, healthy life.
This is Switch TV and happy Wild Heart Day.